I'm going to show you how to make a slab box with a lid. Grab your yellow handout. The first thing you're going to do is roll a slab and then compress it with your rib on both sides. It's optional at this point. After you compressed it, if you would like to add texture, you can use a texture roller, but you don't have to. Next, you're going to trace the template, the square template, 6 times. You want to start all the way at the end of the slab so that you can get the most templates out of the slab. Remember that we're working on being precise. So we're going to hold that with one hand and trace it with either a needle tool or a knife or a cleanup tool. Next, you're going to cut those 6 squares out using a fettling knife. And you just really want to try to keep your hand like nice straight up and down as you're cutting so that those cuts are nice and straight and not angled. After that, you're going to bevel your edges. If you have a bevel tool, which we do, they're red, or you can use your knife, cutting it at a 45-degree angle. This is our red bevel tool. We're going to use the short end, not the long end. The short end is going to cut it at a 45-degree angle. You're going to hold it with the partial square up against the sides of the clay, and then you're going to hold a finger on the other end. And as you move it across, that wire will cut it. And then I'm holding my finger there to try to finish it. So the wire will go right up against my finger, and that'll help it from like messing up your edges. Next, I'm going to keep doing that to all the sides of my squares. Next, you need to dry your pieces out so that they're leather hard. You're going to put them on a wood board, and you're going to loosely lay a bag over them overnight so that when you come back tomorrow, they should be leather hard. After you do that, you're going to score and slip all of your edges, and then you're going to press them together. And at this point, my pieces are leather hard, so they're firm and they won't like slump as I start to slip them and press them together. So I'm going to add some slip. And then I'm really going to try to just press at that joint firmly and not like be pressing on the rest of the piece so that it doesn't warp. Again, I'll go through and add a little bit more slip and just really kind of press those joints together so they get attached well. At this point, I'm going to add small coils inside of the wall joints to solidify those joints and kind of smooth them into each other. So as it dries, it doesn't separate. So I'm going to take those small coils, put them into all the joints. And then I'm going to go in with like a modeling tool, and I'm going to smooth half of it into one side and half of it into the other. I'm not too concerned with the messiness right now because I'm going to smooth it out in a minute. But I'm just trying to get that clay like really well joined. So I'm going to do that on all the joints. Once I'm done, I'll take a little bit of water on my finger and just smooth those in. I'm supporting the box with my other hand as well so that it doesn't get warped. And then I'm adding on my last piece, going along those joints there again and pressing them together so they come together nicely. And then I'll have to add that last coil on that last side and blend and smooth that in as well. This gets a little bit trickier with all your walls, but you can do it. After that, you're going to add the top. So you're basically going to have a cube. So go through and kind of bring all those joints together firmly. And then you're going to use a rubber or a metal rib and smooth those edges. This will keep them like nice and straight and sharp. So I'll kind of run my rib along each side of the edge, and then I'll take my finger and just kind of smooth it so it's not like crummy or actually sharp. But I'm trying not to run it like I'm kind of going along each side as I do that. Make sure you don't forget about the bottom. Mine had some marks on it, so I had to go through and smooth them out with a rib. And then you're going to work on the lid. So now that you have a cube, what you do want to do is cut your lid at like a straight line or a gentle wave or a gentle zigzag. You do not want anything too complex with lots of movement and lots of sharp edges that would be hard to put back together. So the best way to do this is you're going to use a ruler, and to make an even straight line, you're going to measure from the bottom up and make a mark on each side, and then you're going to connect them. So between 3 and 4 inches is usually pretty good. I'm going to mark here at 3 1/4. And I'm going to go on each side and mark at 3 1/4, and then I'm going to connect them together. I'm going to keep doing this all the way around my box so that I have the lines, the guidelines basically for my lid. You can see there I kind of messed up, so I went through and made sure they all fit together. Now, if I wanted to do like a gentle wave or a gentle zigzag, I could kind of sketch that in using my guideline as my base, but it would still be like even all the way around. Now you're going to cut this lid at an angle with your fettling knife. So you want it to be at an angle so that it won't slide off, especially if it's a straight lid. You really want it to be at an angle because otherwise it'll just slide right off. But the angle makes it so that the lid won't wiggle around. So I move it straight and then move my knife up so that it's at an angle, and I'm going to start cutting in. I'm going to try to keep that same angle the whole time as I cut. So still keeping that knife at a nice angle up. Ta-da! It might be a little bit messy, and that's okay. You're going to finish those last coils now inside of your lid. And smoothing in those coils, blending them, and then smoothing them with a little bit of water in your finger. And that'll just make sure that those pieces don't separate as they dry. You have a really nice, strong joint. A little bit of water to smooth it in. Then you're also going to take a little bit of that water and just very gently smooth in any rough edges or sharp parts of your lid. You do not want to alter this too much because then your lid will not fit together anymore. So I'm really just kind of gently cleaning up the cuts, but I'm not changing the shape of them at all. The last thing I would do was add any decorations like a handle and other things like that. And that's it. That's how you make a slab box.